welcome back to my channel. It has been about 2 years since I have posted a YouTube video. I got off track one day 2 years ago and your girl never came back. But within those 2 years, I was always thinking about my channel, and I always had people that would either find my channel or who would watch a video, and then they come up to me and they'd be like, Kaylin, you need to get back into your videos. You need to start making videos again. Like, they were really good. You were really good at it. You need to start doing it again. And I would always be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it, bullshit and decoying. But today, here we are. So I want to say first, before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you to everyone who encouraged me and told me that I should keep doing it and I shouldn't just let it go to the wayside, because here we are. So our topic for today is going to be communication, consideration, and consistency in interpersonal relationships. When I first thought of the concept of the video, I was just framing it around intimate romantic relationships. And even though that's the example we're going to use today, the framework of the principles can be applied to any long-standing relationship you hope to have with a person. So even if the relationship aspect of it doesn't apply, the concepts can be applied to anything. So before we get into this scenario, we're going to do a couple definitions. I love a definition because words have meaning. So first, we're going to do consistency. So consistency is a state of being. It is the quality of always behaving or performing in a similar way. Always happening in a similar way. I liked this definition because it used the word always twice. And I thought that was very interesting. I thought that was like really driving the point home, because when you think about consistency, you don't think about it's sometimes, or it's most of the time, or it's generally. Consistency is always. So I thought that was very important. Then communication. Most people know communication, like the baseline definition, as the sending and receiving and exchange of information. And that was the first definition that came up as well. But what I liked about Cambridge is that they included a secondary definition, which is the one that I want to focus on throughout the video today. And that definition is the exchange of information and the expression of feelings that can result in an understanding. I thought that was really important because most people think that when you communicate that's like the end all be all, when really communication is a starting point. It's a vehicle that should drive you to the avenue and the goal of common ground and understanding. So I really like that definition. And then the last definition being consideration. This was harder to find a definition that I liked, because consideration is such a nuanced and conceptualized idea, and it could mean different things to different people, but it does have a baseline definition, as all words do. So the one that I found that I really liked says consideration is the act, state, or quality of care and respect. And I really liked that definition because it included 3 tiers: act, state, or quality. So it says that consideration is an act, meaning something that you physically have to do, stepping outside of yourself to actually do something to consider others. It's a state. Consideration is a mental state. I always tell people, you can't teach a grown person consideration. You can't teach another grown human being how to think of someone outside of themselves. That has to be a mental state and a perception and a way of life that you already have within you. And then quality being the standard of something that everything else is measured by in relativity to that thing. So I thought that definition was perfect. So keeping our definitions in mind, I'm going to give us a scenario, and then we are going to go in and dissect the scenario by way of our 3 principles. So when I was thinking of what scenario I wanted to use something that wasn't too complex, something that was simple, everybody could follow along with, everybody could relate to, but was still nuanced enough that it hit all 3 principles. And at first I couldn't come up with anything. I was trying to make it too complex. I was trying to, include all the principles. And then I realized that the simplest and most familiar scenario, but also the best scenario to use for this concept, is the no communication all day scenario, which is the narrative or the notion of someone who you're dating or talking to or in a relationship with. If they go all day, so like a single day, and you don't hear anything from them. I thought that was perfect because it includes all three things. It includes a notion of consistency or inconsistency. It includes a notion of communication or no communication, and it consists a notion of consideration or no consideration. So let's go into our first one. So our first one is going to be consistency. So usually within a relationship, there is a rhythm and a routine for how the two people choose to incorporate each other into their lives. That rhythm and routine is usually set at the beginning and the foundation of the relationship. Some people need to talk to each other all day, every day. Some people only need to check in with each other at certain points throughout the day just so that they're updated and kept in the loop. Some people will wake up and they'll just only talk to their significant other like first thing in the morning, and then they'll each go on about their respective days, and then they'll both reconvene at the end and then talk about their days and check in on each other. Whatever your routine is, it has to be something that works for you. But regardless of what it is, I'm pretty willing to bet that the routine is not, well, we just wake up and then we don't say shit to each other all day. I'm pretty sure that's not the routine. A relationship cannot survive on that routine. Because the worst thing that can happen to a routine is an interruption. Not talking to someone who you have built a consistent pattern of communication with, it leaves a person feeling uncertain. It leaves a person feeling unstable. It leaves them questioning their place in the situation. Some people, the easiest cop out to that is people say, well, it was just a day. A day is a really long time. Let your check be a day late. And the rent was due yesterday. And it was just a day, but your job didn't tell you. Ain't nobody told you nothing. And the rent office is knocking at your door. And you don't know what to tell them. Because what? Nobody communicated with you. That leads us into the communication aspect. So the communication aspect of the situation is really little to none. There's no communication for a prolonged period of time. And then if there is any communication, it either takes place after the fact or like the next day. So it's an afterthought. Now, going back to our definition of communication, you have to remember communication is the expression of information and feelings to bring forth an understanding. When a person knows that they're going to be busy, they either let someone know beforehand, or some people will say, well, I didn't know I was going to be busy. There is always a moment in between a person's day where they have a second to bring someone in and keep them in the loop about what's going on with them. No one gets busy all at once. Human beings are creatures of habit. We generally do the same thing every day, especially if you're an adult and you have a job and responsibilities. You pretty much know what you're going to wake up and do that day. So when you just wake up and you just get to going and you start running errands and doing things and you quote unquote get busy and a whole day has gone by and you didn't reach out to let that person know or keep them in the loop about what was going on with you, it creates an environment of misunderstanding. It leaves the other person in the blind about what's going on and makes them feel like, well, damn. Because going back to, it was just a day is really long. I think because, we live day to day, the days seem like a blur, but a day is 24 hours. You're telling me you are so busy within a 24-hour period, it couldn't take you 2 seconds to send somebody a message and say, hey, gonna be a little busy, or hey, I didn't know that today was gonna go this way, but I see myself, getting tied up. I'll talk to you tonight. It takes 2 seconds. Not doing that for a person makes a person feel like a non-priority. Then when you try to come in and communicate with them on the back end, they're less likely to receive that information. How many times has, somebody, they went all day without talking to you, and then they come back on the back end and they try to, tell you what's going on, and you don't want to hear that shit? Whether it's true or not, I'm not trying to hear that. I don't want to hear that because that's something you could have been said. That's something you could have been brought me in on. So hearing it now, it just seems like bullshit to me, right? It makes a person feel like a non-priority. And feeling like a non-priority actually leads us into the third concept, which is consideration. So the easiest cop-out that you'll hear people give to this situation, they'll say, well, if I was legitimately busy, then I had no time to reach out and talk to you. I had things to do. I had errands to run. I had a job. I had this, that, and the third. I had the kids. I had a doctor's appointment. But that's where consideration comes in. It's stepping outside of yourself to think about the feelings of others. If you care about a person, you would consider how they feel not hearing from you all day. And you would make the effort to consider them in spite of all the things you have to do. You have to remember, referring back to our definition, consideration is the act, state, or quality of care and respect. If somebody cares and respects you, they're going to make an effort to get in touch with you. It is 2025. You have hands-free text in cars. You have people making phone calls on watches. You don't even have to physically pick up a phone to get in touch with somebody in the day of our Lord 2025. They make it so easy. So easy. So a person telling you that they went a whole day's worth of living and they didn't have a millisecond to get in touch with you, they don't care or respect you. And that's just the definition. That's not me talking. That's what the definition says. If a person can go a 24-hour period and it never pops into their head once, I haven't spoke to so-and-so all day. Let me try to check in, That doesn't cross their mind once within a 24-hour period. They hate you. I hate to say it, but they hate you. And they really want you to go away. But that's a topic for another video. It's just too easy to communicate. And if that's how you feel about a person, you care, you respect them, and you consider their feelings, then it takes nothing. It takes nothing to bring a person into your world and make them feel like a priority, because you have to remember, it's also reciprocity. You doing that for a person makes them more likely to, in their hard moments or when they're going through something or when they're busy or tied up, they will also think about you as well, because the quality, the state, and the act of the relationship would have already been set up as, well, whenever they're going through something, they still include me, so I can't be the one that's now not including them, right? So, all things considered, that scenario is about a relationship, like an intimate relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend, but those principles can be applied to anything. A sibling relationship. I have a little sister, love her to death. She just got her master's degree. Love her. We don't talk every day, but because we're both grown, we both have our own lives, but I make it a point to not go too long without speaking to my sister. That's my sister. I love her. I have to check on her. I have to see if she's okay. I have to, tell her that I love her. I have to make it a point to be a consistent presence in her life, even though we don't speak every day. The communication aspect. Like I said, even though we don't speak every day, there is still a consistent level of communication throughout our lives. And then consideration. As busy as me and her both are, we both consider each other and reach out and check in and keep each other up to date. Why? Because we love each other. That's my fucking sister. I'm not just going to go days and days and weeks and years and I haven't said anything to her, even though, we each have our own respective lives. And some people will say, well, I just got busy, or, I had this to do. Don't let people feed you that shit. Don't let people feed you that shit. It is lies and it is garbage and it is propaganda that we're not falling for. So with that being said, at this point in the video, we usually include an art piece. So if this is your first time watching one of my videos, at the end of every discussion piece, we always include an art piece that relates to the topic in either like a literal or more like metaphorical or conceptualized way. And today's art piece, I really, really love. It took me a while to find something that I felt like embodied the narrative of this video, but the piece that I picked, I really, really liked. So this is a painting called The Lovers. It was painted in 1928 by an artist named Rene Magritte, and it is actually one painting, part of a 4-part series of paintings, all titled The Lovers, which each depict a portrait of a couple in a different setting, different composition, different body language. But this one stuck out to me because I think it's a beautiful painting. I think it's visually striking, and I think the narrative fits with the video perfectly. So let's just break it down a little bit. So in the background, you see it's a beautiful background, luscious green forest, beautiful blue skies. In the forefront, you see a couple. They are positioned very close to each other. The woman, she kind of leans back into the man as the man kind of leans forward into her. Her position suggests one of submission and femininity and softness, whereas his position suggests one of dominance, but also a protective and loving nature. They're drawn very close, very intimate, so much so that you can see that their faces are pressed together based on the shadows that's created by the cloths. And it gives you the overall feeling that this couple is in love, they love each other, they're very close. You know, it's very positive. The background is sunny and bright and luscious. The couple itself is close, you know, posed in close proximity to each other. It gives you the vibe that you're looking at a very intimate moment. And yet, within that intimacy, there is an element of isolation communicated by the cloths over their face, as if to say, as close as this couple is, there is a level of closeness that is out of reach to them because of something in their relationship. Now, of course, we don't know them. We don't know what that thing is. But that's what it gives me. It gives me, as beautiful as this picture is, as beautiful as the sky is, as green as the trees are, as close as me and this man are, there is something that keeps us from reaching a certain level of closeness and intimacy within our relationship, because there's something somewhere foundational that's lacking. And I felt like that tied into the topic of this video, because regardless of how beautiful or how amazing you think your relationship is, if the foundations of communication, consistency, and consideration are not strong, if you and your person do not have a communication style that works for you, if you and that person cannot be a consistent presence in each other's lives, and if you and that person cannot consider each other's feelings outside of your own at times, the relationship will not survive. And as beautiful as it may be, there will always be a level of intimacy that is out of reach for you because your foundations are out of order. And so I felt like that painting, perfect. It's one of those things that's like kind of like beautifully haunting, like, and sad too. Like, and I also think it's something that everyone can relate to, because you know how many people have been in relationships or been friends with someone and it feels like you're so close, yet in moments of like misunderstanding or conflict, it feels like this person is a stranger. I don't even know this person, right? That's because somewhere a foundational aspect of love and respect is out of whack. And it'll forever be out of whack until you address one of those principles. So with that being said, that's the end of the video. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Thank you to anyone who clicked on it. Whether you watched 1 minute, 2 minutes, the whole 18, 19, 20 minutes, I'm very appreciative. I just want to thank everyone, and I want to try to be more consistent in my videos, because it's something that I really, really love to do. I love the discussion aspect. I love the art. I love talking and just kind of sharing ideas and hearing other people's perspectives. So it's really something that this time around I want to keep doing and stay consistent with. So thank you everyone for watching my videos, and I will see you in the next one.